Greg, first off, another year without Ricky. How did, as the news is coming down, the emotion of it, I know your head's immediately going to, okay, that means we have to do this, and this.
Well, my head first is like, I'm gutted for him because what a nightmare for him who just wants to get out and play and compete, and he loves it and he wants to help. And so my first feeling is just for him. And on January 1st, I had texted with him all through the holidays, just checking in, and he'd sent some videos and how he was doing, what he was doing, stuff like that. And January 1st, I texted him Happy New Year, and his text to me was how excited he was to get back. And then January 2nd, I woke up to a text to, I'm going to have surgery again. You could tell emotionally he was. So just consider in 24 hours going from I'm so excited to be back and ready to go to I've just been told something's happened and I'm going to have surgery and I'm going to be out again for a year, right? So for him, just brutal. Our goal is to support him and keep him positive and keep building forward and get him ready when he's ready. But for us, then we have to also just consider the season and what that looks like for the team. I think we learned a lot last year as a group. I think you saw some of that during the course of the season. We had struggles early, but we certainly stabilized as the year went. I think, last year we didn't make a move, the likelihood that we probably make a move this year to reinforce the group will probably happen. So we learned a lot. I think the guys in the locker room and talking with them, they all felt like we learned a lot about ourselves, and that we move forward and we attack this season with the team that we're going to be and the team we have. So.
Does this change how you're looking at using Royce?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think using Marco is just always a product of him staying fit and healthy and those kinds of things. I think last year was a great example of, the first, whatever it was, 15 games, 10 games where he wasn't as healthy. We didn't really have that truer kind of number 10, and then I felt like as we got to May-ish, I think he started to get healthy. Other guys, we started to see where he could pull the strings, and he had a great run. And I think probably getting a little bit close to the tournament, Leagues Cup, things like that. Again, started to wind it down a little bit. So if we keep him healthy, we keep him sharp, keep him on the field. He again gives us a guy who can pull the strings a bit.
But is he someone that you look at now as, he's a first 11 guy as opposed to he's a guy that we want to be bringing off the bench?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be how he feels and how we set up and the best version of ourselves. But I think he has to play a big role in the capacity of getting Joe in motion, getting Gabe in motion, getting our attacks building speed. So he's going to be a huge part of that. I don't know if today I can sit here and tell you who our best 11 is going to be, but I can tell you certainly what he does is different and unique for our group, and we're going to need him to be available as much as possible.
I also want to ask you about bringing in Hack and especially Lessness. Lessness, I mean, that could be a transformative addition to your background.
Yeah, I think there are two huge pickups in my view. Talk first with Jacob, a leader, positivity in terms of the way he approaches every single day. You can tell he's out there to work and improve and push the team. He's got a great tenacity on the defensive side. Coming from Philadelphia, his aggressiveness to close and his engagement on the defensive side is really high. So organizing counter presses, helping us to organize and keep our lines tight when we're moving. He's got a really good level of leadership and engagement in that capacity. I think the thing he's going to be, and he knows this, but it's what he loves about this move is again settling into the way we want to use the ball. We're very different. We're the opposite, really, in Philadelphia of how they want to use the ball in terms of possession and things like that. It's something that he is, and I'm sure when you guys speak to him, it's something that he grew up doing, but it's not something he's been doing for the last few years, which is calculating entry passes and timing and drawing defenders and things like that. There, they were playing the ball forward and they were attacking and they were pressing off of it and things like that. Losing the ball there for them was actually a part of the attack, right? For us, we don't want, it's the opposite. So I think that's going to be the great change for him that he actually is really looking forward to. And I think in seeing what I've seen, he's a very good passer. It's just, again, what passes are we playing when, and what are we trying to manipulate as we're doing that, which I think he'll have no problem. Now, conversely, you look at someone like Hack, who comes from a system that's very similar to our system. What I love about him is he's very versatile. Like, we do a lot of different things. We could use him in midfield. We could use him in the back as a center back. He could play as a pivot at times. We could use him in a double pivot and do different things. Even he and Eddie could play together. There's a lot of different things that we can do. And for me, he's a kind of a joker because we can do different types of things with him. We could play three in the back. We can do a lot of different things, and he brings versatility of like not many guys do, his capacity to play in different positions and different roles. So, and he's very comfortable with our system and our ideas because it's not so dissimilar from what he's been playing for years.
Do you think he'll be playing in all of those spots?
I think he'll find minutes in all those different spots, yeah. So if we recognize that we're just so much better with him in one particular spot, then we'll obviously live there. But I think we will be at times want to show some versatility in what we're showing the opposition and what we want to do. And so he is a guy, and when I talked to him in the offseason as he was considering his options, I said, I see you as such a huge part of what we can do to create versatility in our – you've been around me for a long time. It's never the same thing every single time. So he's a guy who can create some of that versatility. Yeah, last year you saw it with guys like Harbor and Mowdy at times and others, but now we have a central player who can do a couple of things that are a little bit different as well.
You certainly added to your collection of center backs back there. How do you see that sort of working itself out?
Yeah, I think it's nice competition, healthy competition for them. I think each guy is different in some ways in terms of what they bring to that back line. I think for the last couple of years it's kind of been not always easy for us to keep our center backs healthy, so you always have at least a stable of guys that you have options with. But again, I think it brings us some versatility. Potentially without a Ricky, do you consider at times a back three, whatever? It gives us some flexibility to think about this group. And I think what I've seen from this group in preseason, guys like Lucas and Elijah are far more comfortable in what we're doing than they were a year ago. And so I think our group is a little bit more ready, and we saw that at the end of the year for some versatile, different types of things that at the beginning of last year we weren't ready for it, and I needed to be more simple and straightforward for some of those guys. But I think we're at a point where we're becoming more mature and more aware of each other as we are moving forward, and that creates some versatility in our group. But having strong center backs is the foundation, I think, for having a strong team. So I think that's really good for us.
Greg, when we last spoke at the end of last season, you stated your desire for a new striker. Are you satisfied with the options you have, or perhaps the incoming options that you have? Did that change with Ricky's news? Is the focus still a striker for him?
Yeah, focus is still a 9, and I think we're probably 2, maybe 3 players away from where we ultimately would be on day one if we are able to accomplish what we accomplished. But one of those would be a 9, I think. Again, adding to our guys that are here at the moment. So the options are there. It's a unique situation, to be honest with you. Whether it's the role of a DP for 1 year, or whether it's some kind of a non-DP situation. It's been interesting in how you fill that spot, looking at not just this year, but in a bigger picture. So that's more on Will's side, but I'm obviously involved in the discussions of that. But the options are relatively interesting. We want to see what we can get in the door. But we are looking at that spot. I guess that's kind of what I'm saying.
Your thoughts on João Klaus?
Scored good goals against us last year. I'm not sure we helped ourselves out, but the way he buried them was certainly memorable. He's obviously he's a talented striker. He's a big target. He's got good feet. He's an interesting option. I think my understanding is we're in some discussion, but I don't know how close we are, if we're there. But I think he gives us some uniqueness to the top. Again, his size, he's 6'3", so I think teams ultimately have to make a choice on whether they want to overpress us or sit low against us. And if you overpress us and you've got a nice target at the top, that makes problems for the other team. If they sit low, you have a nice target who can get on the end of things in the box. And so having somebody of his stature and his quality is not a bad thing for us, that's for sure. So we'll see how things play out. It's been an off season. There's always been in and out, and so you have to just kind of see how things ultimately land.
Is everybody here?
Greg, you have the American flag behind you.
Yes.
How important is it to get some players on the national team, and how do you plan to help them out?
Yeah, I think first of all, we've got the World Cup coming, which is really exciting. Hopefully it's still coming, but we've got the World Cup coming. And having guys who can participate in that, whether it's Joe and others who can participate, is amazing. I think we have some young guys who are kind of in the youth national teams and in that next steps. We want to keep those guys progressing, and hopefully one day they'll have the opportunity to play in the World Cup. So we're really happy about that. If there's some guys, I don't know if there's anybody we can get into the actual picture here in the final stretches of this last 5 months, but if possible, obviously we'll push guys. But I think it's our ability to continue to develop players who are in the system, who can remain in the system, and be a part of the national team in the big picture.
Greg, last year in preseason, you mentioned Ruben Ramos Jr. as someone that you were hoping to kind of make that next step. Who do you have your eye on? Who do you have your eye on this year as you embark on preseason?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to our guys, we've had 6 or 7 of the 07s, 08s who have been in the training camp, 07s, 08s, in training camp, and they've all been solid. They've all held their level. They've all fit in. They've helped the environment to be very competitive. First thing I say to them is be reliable first, and once you become reliable, then the coach has confidence to play you, and then you build out from there into doing all those other special things that they're capable of doing. So, but there's guys, I don't want to name too many names yet, let's get through preseason, but there's, like, the guys who've been in have done a nice job. But there's a lot of faces you've probably heard of or seen over the last year or so. I don't think there's too many new guys who've jumped into the equation, but it's a lot of the similar guys. Either guys who were at the U17 World Cup, U20 World Cup, amongst other guys who you see getting a lot of minutes at the second team, things like that. So
there was some trialists from, I believe, La Masia. How are they fitting into the squad, and is it just kind of to have the guys have a run out against quality opposition, or do they actually have a shot at making the roster?
Yes, I mean, we have a few Spanish players, and one that we drafted who grew up in Real Madrid's system, Jaime. He's been training with us. Really, really tidy. His feet clean, quick with the ball. It's going to be all that. He's played in college the last few years, and so it's how all that's going to translate into the larger game at the MLS level. But he just had a nice start off in campus, and we've had a couple guys, Arnaud and a couple others, who are currently more with the second team at the moment, but at some point probably will be transitioning back and forth. So again, there's always, every year, there's some fresh faces, whether they're coming out of college or other, who are having the opportunity to make it in our system and somewhere between the first team and the second team. And see, always for us, when we bring players in like that, it's, do they have a chance at the first team in the future, so that our investment in them is an opportunity to move forward. So those guys are all here showing what they're capable of doing, and so far they've gotten off to a good start.
Let's move. Oh, go ahead.
What is the main focus out of this event? What are you hoping to see out of the team? Obviously, preseason matches, I mean, not a tremendous importance on winning them. You'd like to win them, but what's tactically or physically, maybe some physical?
Yeah, I think in these early stages, we play a game on Friday, and then we play a game next week, and we have a couple before we go to Coachella. I think a lot of that's going to be just building our fitness levels up, getting guys, guys did 30 minutes to 45 minutes the other day. It's making sure now against an MLS opposition that we're at 45 solid minutes and getting everybody. Then it's getting to 60 minutes plus, getting guys to 90 minutes is not as soon as we can, but soon. So we want everybody to have at least 2 90-minute games before we have to go to Panama and before we start playing. So it is about getting minutes and getting minutes across the board to guys. Obviously, as I said to the guys today, it's getting guys in sync about reading situations the same and recognizing situations and then having the solutions collectively to those situations. Our guys who've been with us, you can tell, are seeing things more similarly than guys who are coming a little bit new. So it's using the preseason to make sure that we're recognizing situations, we're finding the right solutions, so that our collective game is coming together. And then it's about getting individuals sharp inside of that, guys finishing, crossing, all those kinds of things that we need individuals to do. So yeah, some of it's obviously tactical, and some of it's just getting individuals ready to compete and play and execute, all those kinds of things.
Talk a little bit about the importance of Champions League and Cup, I guess it is now.
Sure.
Especially given that, and you don't want to downplay any opponent because anything can happen in 90 minutes, but you guys got a fantastic draw.
Yeah, I hate talking about stuff like that. I think going to Panama in the first game is always challenging. Having done that many times, either with the national team or others, those games are always difficult. So I think it's really important that in our first real live game that we do a good job of at least setting ourselves up to come home and win the tie, if you will. So I think that first game is going to be important for us to be sharp, to be smart, to minimize any early mistakes, things like that. And again, set ourselves up to come home where I know we'll feel comfortable. We'll be in our third game by that point, plus our preseason games, where we can come home and win it and then move on and worry about what's next after that. But I think these early games on the road in CONCACAF are games you just got to be sharp, and you got to make solid plays.
It is, and yeah, we've seen results, especially in Central America, where you have no idea what it's going to be like condition-wise,
sure.
atmosphere-wise, referee-wise, anything like that. We saw there were some really difficult positions you could have ended up on the board, and to end up with Panama, Jamaica. I mean, you got to win those games, but those are also games you'll be expected to win.
Yeah, I agree with you. So I think it's just always, as a group, is making sure we approach each game with the right mentality and understanding the challenge of playing those games on the road. Sometimes it's harder to go there and play those games on the road than it would be to go to, pick an MLS club that you're used to and you know what it's about, and you're going and playing a game in an environment that you're very certain of. So I think it's just being able to be mature as a group and as we go and play these games. But I agree with you. These are, in theory and on paper and everything else, these are two rounds that we need to take care of and put ourselves in a good position after that.
Okay, we're going to be respectful of Greg's time and move over to the Zoom. Go ahead, Josh.
Hey, Greg, thanks for talking to us. Appreciate it.
Hey, Josh. Pleasure.
Have you ever had sort of the defensive expectations with the group that maybe you're going to have this year? I mean, as a defensive player and the guy who loves defense, you haven't had, I would say, a real sort of group of people who would come in and sort of look like they're dangerous?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would like to say it's being a better defending team is some low-hanging fruit for us. I mean, we gave up a lot of goals and a lot of goals in bad ways, and so I think by adding these players with more experience, these guys have been very consistent throughout their careers, tying them into our vision of what we're trying to do. It's an real opportunity for our group to be a solid defending group. But that starts at the front. It starts with whoever comes in, and including Nasi and potentially and Christian and whoever might be else that plays at the front. Defending starts from there, and us just as a group being really committed to being a better defending team. And when I said it comes down to not giving up goals, it comes down to where we're recovering the ball, all those things. So I think it's a mentality that our group needs to have going into this year, and it's something that we've started right at the beginning, which is we're going to be a good defending team, and we've added resources to help support that, but also our mentality as a group front to back has to be a commitment to being a better defending team.
Is there some excitement in that for you, that you guys do have a chance to be a really good defensive team this year, though?
Yeah, I think if you can be a really good defensive team, you set yourself up to win games. I think it's, as we've seen over times, it's very difficult. We've always put together good attacking teams and teams that create chances, can score goals, but you never want to undermine yourself by giving away easy goals, because it's, in theory, in the game, it's much more difficult to score goals than to prevent goals. So I think it's a real opportunity for us to embrace that as a group, be excited about the defending side, and understanding that if we're good defending, it's going to just set up everything better for us on the attacking side, as well as results and everything else. So I get that's the sense that we've been sharing, and it's the sense that this group has, and it's the commitment that they're putting out on the field. So a lot of stuff we've done the last few days has just been around defending stuff and defending priorities and all that.
Awesome. Thanks, Greg.
What can you draw going into 24 that could help you going into this season?
Yeah, I think 24 was the first part of the season. I felt it was just such a struggle and a battle. But we stayed together. There was resiliency. We grew as a team through the course of the year. And so I think we got to understand that at the start of this year, we've got to come out and we've got to be strong and we've got to be stable. We're going to continue to progress and grow through the course of the season. Again, I think the defending side, our commitment to being really hard to play against, not just a team that is hard to defend, but a team that is hard to play against when we don't have the ball, is something that we have to prove upon, and it's a mentality we have to take. And so I think that's one of the things that we're aware of, but we, as a group, from me to everyone else, that we've got to be better at. That's it. I think, again, home field is something we need to take care of this year. I don't think we did a great job of doing that last year. The year before, we were phenomenal at home. Last year, we were not phenomenal at home, and so I think that's another thing that we just got to be really, really focused on. But for me, it's the start of a new process, and this team needs to become the best version of itself and grow through the year, but get results in the process. It's not, we can't grow while we're losing games. We got to grow while we're still getting results.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, Greg.
All right, that's
Appreciate
it.
it.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
everybody else.